Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So we're going to be talking today about this potential very significant winter storm. It has two phases. One will be occurring today, starting today into tomorrow, Wednesday, ending around Thursday. And then the second phase into Friday and into portions of the weekend. So this thing's a long duration event. We'll have a lot of stuff to go over. There have been some dramatic changes over the past 24 hours since my latest video. Still, heavy snow is expected, but the details have been refined. They will continue to be refined, just a bit less, but a lot of stuff to go over. So if you guys enjoy my channel, if you enjoy videos like this, or at any point during today's video you would like to subscribe, that would be awesome. And if you enjoy this content, consider liking the video, especially if you are a returning viewer. It really helps this channel out a lot. Otherwise, let's start talking about this mega winter storm. Now, this winter storm is one of these storms that will have almost everything with it. It may have very heavy rain, maybe some severe side. It doesn't seem too big, right? But rain, thunderstorms on the south, ice will be a big threat across Kansas, into portions of Missouri, and into Illinois and Iowa. It doesn't seem to be a crippling ice storm, but again, it does not take a lot for there to be a lot of havoc wreaked by an ice storm. And then, of course, the snowy side, which will obviously be significant. So this is a multi-phased winter storm, and again, we have a lot of stuff to go over. Let's start off by looking at Tropical Tidbits, the GFS model. Let's zoom out of the central United States, as that's what I was looking at. Specifically looking at the Midwest, where the rain-snow line is very close, but I want to provide a larger view for everyone. So right now we are situated where the snow is erupting across the mountains. Colorado, Utah, northern Arizona, and northern New Mexico will be getting in on this as well. Nevada, Utah, I already said, I think Wyoming, southern Wyoming, and California seeing that rain. Now, as we progress this, notice we have the actual parent low still right there, except it transferred a lot of its energy into the Midwest, and this will be a key player in the event occurring a few days after this first wave. I called it the second wave, if you will. So pay attention, everybody. This is what you want to kind of hear out. So again, we have two waves. One will be occurring today into tomorrow and Wednesday, and ending Wednesday night. And then the rain will continue as a second wave begins with wintry precip and more rain. So this is the first wave. Notice this is 12 a.m. today, so late Monday into early Tuesday. This is now 6 a.m. Tuesday. Nebraska seeing very heavy snow. Colorado, Wyoming, the mountains, especially the mountains, seeing those higher amounts. We start seeing a good copious amounts of precipitation from the south. Very moist air mass, and this will feed directly into cold air, which will obviously provide either ice, sleet, or snow depending on the temperature profile of the column of air above a certain location. Now again, this seems not to be a major ice storm, but again, a tenth of ice is usually what it takes in order to create some power outages, havoc on roads. Ice is extremely dangerous to drive in, even worse than snow. So notice, this at around 12 p.m., so noon tomorrow lunchtime, Iowa, Minnesota getting in on some of that snow, southwestern Minnesota, South Dakota, Nebraska, into Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri seeing rain. Now, for my friends in Kansas City, I know I have people in Missouri, I have people from all over, but the Northeast may see more of rain from the system. Just getting ahead of myself there for a second. But Missouri, Kansas City, and into St. Joseph, those locations will start off with a thud of snow, then quickly into rain, freezing rain, ice, and then rain. So while it does look to be a bit impactful, it's not the brunt that you will be facing from the system. The brunt will fall with the early first wave, the early hours of Tuesday morning, 6 to 12. Nebraska will be seeing very heavy snow. Southern locations will start transitioning over to some rain, according to the GFS. Omaha, Lincoln, again, just a few hours of extra snow or a few hours less could impact these amounts quite a bit. So definitely keep an eye out for this if you live across Nebraska, even southern Iowa. Notice that the GFS model run takes a lot of snow into Illinois very quickly by 6 p.m. So tomorrow, Tuesday, it's snowing across much of Illinois, pushing into portions of Indiana with some snow, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and again, look at this. The GFS transitions a lot of this into sleet, then freezing rain, and then rain. Now, not all models agree with the GFS, what it's showing here. The GFS ends a lot of the snow across Iowa and Illinois and transitions it over into rain by midnight into Wednesday. Indiana, Ohio, the same thing. Only further north into southern Wisconsin, Green Bay, and Michigan, they kind of hold off on that till around earlier on in the day, 6 a.m. Wednesday. So notice that a lot of the stuff on the backside here, the Dakotas also pulled away from the system at around midnight Wednesday or very, very late Tuesday morning. Sorry, Tuesday night. And notice, I don't want to say for people living in Ohio or Indiana, you will get some snow, most likely an inch, maybe 2 inches. Most likely less than an inch, though. Depending if this band is stronger than anticipated, maybe 1, 2, 3. But again, you'll be stuck under some rain for a while. Now you can see that it starts raining across much of Illinois, in Wisconsin, Indiana. Again, this is the GFS. Not all models agree with this. What we see is this system push off to the east. It races. And what we see is a bit of snow on the backside. So if you live in Ohio, northern Indiana, central Indiana, southern Illinois, you may see a stripe of snow on behind this rain, right? So you'll see rain, and then a stripe of snow behind this into Wednesday and early Thursday. So this is now late Wednesday into early Thursday. Canada seeing a bit of rain and snow. Again, for exact details, contact your offices. I know they do not have the National Weather Service in Canada. I think they have the Environmental Protection Agency. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I think it's one of those things that issues the warnings and watches for Canadian areas. But yes, further up north, more snow. Further south, a bit more mixing. Again, the GFS may be just showing this wrong. And then there's that second wave. And I do want to say, regarding the second wave, it looks as if most of the models are agreeing now that this won't be a massive event for Indiana or Ohio or Pennsylvania or Kentucky or even southern Illinois. I would say that Illinois, I should be at least able to pronounce my own name, my own state name where I'm from, right? The thing is that a lot of models have trended this towards the west. Now, what will it hit exactly these locations? Maybe, maybe not, but I would say anywhere east of the or west of this line I'm drawing right here has the potential to see snow, quite a bit of it, or ice from that second wave. Anywhere further east, the chances drop off significantly, and obviously to the north, you may see some snow depending on how far north this track takes. The GFS takes it pretty far to the north, so much of the southern Canadian cities see rain. Okay, that is, that's the second wave. We have to talk about the first wave. So snowfall from the first wave will be rather impactful. This is the GFS. It includes sleet into that, so I'll just take that away and just look at pure snowfall. Notice a lot of these up here are underdone. This is assuming a 10-to-1 ratio. Here 2 to 5 inches is possible, especially as you go into Nebraska, southern South Dakota, southwestern Minnesota, even southeastern Minnesota. But the brunt of the heaviest snow, right where the very heavy rain will be falling, is into Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Missouri. Now, the exact placement of this is what the GFS is showing. I do want to say that this is what the GFS shows right as of 18Z today afternoon. There has been a southward trend. So let's take a look back. Let's play this back. This was a few model runs prior. I'm taking this back now to the model run that was initiated today at midnight. Already a pretty big difference. This was exactly 24 hours ago. Ignore this wave right here. That was the start of the second wave. But for the first wave, notice it was way further to the north oriented. Now it's further towards Chicago, Milwaukee, Davenport, Iowa, Kansas City, maybe even seeing some snow. But again, that right there I think is the start of the second wave, which yeah, this is the first wave. All right. Now let's take a look at other models. The Canadian model. This model has been very consistent in the placement of the snow, but it has also done a fair amount of changes. So notice it does put out a lot of snow for these locations. I mean, a lot. It's widespread. It will be anywhere from 3 to 6 inches, but that's not really major snow for the upper plains, but it will be a nice swath, right? No rain changeover for you guys. Almost there won't be. It won't be that far to the north. But look at the Canadian. This was 12 hours ago, and this was yesterday's model run, equivalent to today's model run. Notice a bit further to the north, but again, the placement with the Canadian hasn't changed awfully that much. Now, I do want to point out that snow right there into northern Mexico and Texas. That's the second wave, and I will briefly touch on that in today's video, possibly if I have time, but this first wave is our main occupant. Notice Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, Nevada, especially the elevated areas, picking up a bit of snow, but even Denver picking up anywhere from 4 to, I would say 2 to 5, honestly, is safe, but there will be higher pockets, and that looks definitely interesting, right? So that is a GFS and a Canadian. Generally, again, a southward trend has been shown. Let's take a look at the European models. So the European model and a GFS were originally the two models that showed the heaviest snow further to the north, while the Canadian showed it further to the south. So the GFS and European have trended towards what the Canadian was showing over the past few days, and it continues trending to the south, this snowstorm. Notice, let's take a glance at this. So this is what the European shows. Very similar characteristics. Again, Missouri, Kansas City, northern Missouri, transitioning over to ice and rain rather quickly, but there will be a thud of snow. Nebraska, you can see the European includes very, very minimal amounts of rain, unlike the GFS. So you may not even get any rain or mixing if you live a bit further to the north, a little bit north of Omaha, even Omaha itself. Notice this is again around 2 p.m. Tuesday afternoon. So tomorrow afternoon, this is around 6 p.m., 7 p.m. This is around midnight. And notice that what we see, or sorry, 2 a.m. in the morning. Notice what we see is a lot of snow, right? That transition does not even impact a lot of southern Wisconsin. Unlike the GFS that has the rain impacting all the way into southern Wisconsin, or changing over the snow into southern Wisconsin. The European doesn't have that. Michigan, northern Michigan, seeing snow out of this. Again, look at that. Even Indiana and Ohio potentially seeing that thud of snow an inch or two before transitioning all over to rain. The further south it needs to go, the greater the chances are for that rainfall, right? And again, that includes Kansas City, Central Illinois, and Kansas eventually as well. So after that first wave, again, we do have that second wave right there. You can see it erupt. The European shows its own track. We'll have to see about that. It's still there. It still hasn't changed, right? It looks very potentially very powerful, and it's still around that 100-hour mark. They have slowed things down, the models. They've pushed it back further in time, so the confidence is low. So that's the first wave, right? I do want to point out, I mentioned this yesterday briefly, I think, there could be and earlier in this video, there could be a little bit of a cold front that develops, and a bit of snow could be mixing in on the backside. Now, you can see the European doesn't include any snow here. This is at around 2 p.m. Wednesday afternoon. But I would not be surprised if there's a bit more snow than expected, or a bit more cold air, that a lot of this could be, or a lot of it, there could be a stripe, a band of snow that drops maybe 1 to 3 inches into maybe even northern Indiana or into Michigan and Ohio. Notice the European hints at that right there. That could be something to watch for. Again, though, it wouldn't be major even if it forms. Still something to watch for. Now, let's take a glance at the European snowfall amounts. Total accumulated snowfall, this is what it shows. Again, it shows quite a bit up here. This is a bit lower still because the snowfall ratios here will be much higher. Here they will be lower, so I'm just using a 10-to-1, but I do want to say anywhere north of where this line is pretty much drawn out, the snowfall ratios will be higher, and expect 2 to anywhere 6 inches of snow for these locations. Obviously, there will be a cutoff towards the very north. Now, this is what the European shows now, right? But take it back 24 hours ago and leave it off at 78. Further to the north, you could see Green Bay was in it, more of northeastern Iowa. Southern Wisconsin wasn't in the heavy snow. Northern Illinois wasn't either. Central Iowa was, right? But 24 hours later, or today's model, you could see that it's a bit different. Green Bay looking a bit less of snow. Northeastern Iowa a bit less. Central Iowa still the same, but further into Wisconsin seeing heavier snow. Into Michigan, central northern Michigan, if you will. And again, this remains unchanged across Nebraska and South Dakota and up here, as this will be a rather prevalent snow band that will be hard to change at this point. So again, 2 to 6 inches is likely for your area. Now, time for the high resolution models. Well, actually, first, before I do that, I want to take a look at the National Weather Service. So you saw the global models. They show a generous amount of snow, right? But again, for details, we go to the National Weather Service. The thing is that the National Weather Service is always conservative with the new trends, and that makes sense because sometimes trends are false and they don't always pan out. And in this case, they have shifted the snow further to the south, but not to the extent that some of the newer models are showing. And again, this is the tough part of the storm. Will the trends that are taking place continue all the way into tomorrow, right before the snow? Or will they stop? And if they are continuing now, are they false, and are they, getting onto something? That's all the question. Those are all the million-dollar questions. And let's take a look at this. So notice, there's a ton of winter weather advisories. There's a large area of storm warnings and a bit of watches where they're unsure. But say Minneapolis and the Minnesota area, right? A lot of folks live there. They're wondering what to expect. 3 to 5, 3 to 4. Again, further south and east, south and west, heavier amounts. The advisory calls for 2 to 5 inches. I wouldn't be surprised if there will be up to 6 inches. So that is very consistent across these areas. For Nebraska, they definitely have a advisory, but I think it will be on a higher spectrum. They're showing 1 to 5. I would not be surprised if portions of southern central Nebraska, heavier to that heavier amounts of closer to the heavier amounts of precipitation, could be seeing up to 6 inches or plus in that warning criteria. And the thing is that, say for southern Wisconsin, they are in advisory. I would not be surprised, guys, if we were to see a lot of these watches or these advisories go over to some warnings. Now, if they don't, that's okay. I don't think that the National Weather Service is excluding 6 inches plus across this advisory area. They probably make that pretty clear that, yeah, 3 to 6, if not a bit more, depending on that mix. And anything 6 and above is warning criteria, so a few additional counties may be added. And again, it's all about the trend. The National Weather Service right now has done a very well job, right, with the placement of this warning, these advisories, and they are very conservative, and they are kind of reluctant to change this over quickly because the trends are continuing to push us further to the south. But the National Weather Service is not excluding that, and even towards tomorrow morning, we may see some of these areas get pushed into the warning criteria. Maybe not Illinois, but into southern Wisconsin and the bordering areas of the counties. I do not think Cook County, for my people living in Chicago, will see a winter storm warning. I think there could be some areas that see similar amounts to winter storm warning criteria level, but I don't think the National Weather Service will issue them for the sake of a few areas that may see 6 inches plus. Now, again, if some of the models that are showing this right now do come true, then they will put warnings up. But are those models accurate or not is tough to say. Total snowfall 1 to 5 again. Heavy at times, will be falling heavily, but briefly, only a few hours before transitioning over to sleet. There could be up to an inch of sleet. If the sleet is more predominant than the snow, but then the snowfall will be less. It's kind of going to be a mix, a balance. Iowa is going to get hit the hardest. Dubuque, Iowa, just south of Dubuque. Davenport may also get a bit. They're in the watches right now. They are considering a warning. Notice that they are all in warnings, right? This is the snowfall, expected snowfall, and if you're to compare this to even 2 days ago, this is a giant shift to the south. So before I finish up this video and wrap it up, I do want to say that, again, Michigan, let's go over this a bit. Michigan and into extreme northern Minnesota, right here, that will be the cutoff. Right here, depending on where this band sets up, will obviously affect Michigan further to the north, the south. I don't think it will be a large event for central Michigan. Right here, these advisories are mainly for freezing rain and sleet, though, again, a thud of snow is possible, and I would say that some snow is possible. I don't know if they mention it in here. The main concern with this advisory is the freezing rain, which could lead to some damage, but the snow will be there potentially as well. All right, quickly, let's take a look at the HRR, a very high-res model that is up to 18 hours. It goes out there, right? Pretty far out. Let's take a look at the radar, rain/frozen, take it back to hour 1. Notice, right now we don't have much going on. Let's shift this up so you can see the time. This is Central Standard Time. So this is today into the afternoon. This is a bit of an older model run, as it is 5 o'clock right now, right here. And this came out at around 1. But it's the model run that goes out very far, so it gives us an ability to look at this whole United States throughout the event of this whole wave. All right, so again, mountains, a lot of snow, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming. That snowfall will be heavily falling. It's not a bomb cyclone. It's not a huge event, but it will be providing some decent amounts. Notice that the band shifts into Nebraska and Kansas, northern Kansas and southern South Dakota. Again, a bit of snow possible right there. Depending on how far to the south that forms is a bit questionable. By 11 p.m. today, a lot of these locations will be already seeing snow. Then overnight today, we see the rain showers developing. This begins evolving into a very significant precip maker across the Kansas area and Oklahoma. Mostly rain, but look at that. That is ice, sleet, and snow mixing in. Where that line sets up initially will determine, for example, cities further to the north like St. Joseph, Kansas City, and even maybe into central Missouri and southern Nebraska, how much snow they will get. Notice that by 6 a.m. in the morning, snow reaching Kansas City and falling for a good few hours. That may lead to 1 to 3 inches depending on, again, that transition. If it transitions quicker, 1 inch. If it's later, 3 inches. Even an hour later, this snow right by this freezing rain could be falling up to an inch, if not more, per hour. Now, Nebraska, again, southern Nebraska seeing snow pushing into Iowa. This is 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m. Notice across Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, that snow continues. That rain continuously pummeling in moisture, right, fueling the moisture in. Notice we see a band right here develop. Now, the extent of this band is questionable, whether or not this will extend into maybe portions of Indiana and the cities right here. Maybe it will extend even further, maybe into pushing into the eastern Indiana area. Even if it does, it doesn't look significant, but the snow will be heavy, so even a burst of this will lead to visibility issues. Obviously, the further north and west you go, the heavier amounts of snow will fall. This does extend right into northern Indiana and southern Michigan. Briefly, but it does. Chicago, southern Wisconsin, Iowa. These snowfall rates are very heavy. They may be a bit overdone by this HRRR model, and we'll see that in the snowfall amounts, which I'll show you in just a second. But very heavy snow. And notice that as the event goes on, right, the night wears on, this freezing snow or freezing rain, ice, rain line will be pushing up to the north gradually. And how fast that does so and how far to the east or south and, well, how far to the north this gets really, right, will be the determining factor for cities or areas like southern Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, even Indiana for seeing their snow. So this is the HRRR model, right, shows a lot of, say, Chicago, Wisconsin seeing heavy snow up until around 9 p.m. for Chicago starts that transition into Iowa. And again, all these models have been trending further to the south, and I'm curious to see the new run of the HRRR model, which will come out in 2 hours, the one that goes out to 48 hours, and whether or not it's shifted is to the south. Regardless, it's not going to be an exact rain transition. A lot of this air is still cold, as it will be very cold tonight across the Midwest. Notice, sleet, freezing rain. Sleet first, then freezing rain to northern Illinois. Notice much of even Detroit and into Ohio seeing that band of snow. So that could provide a quick 1 to 3 inches. Wisconsin, UP, northern Michigan. A lot of freezing rain for the Chicago area with this portrayal of the snowstorm. And notice that the HRRR model then obviously transitions all over to rain at around early Wednesday morning, right? But we have that cold front right there that produces a bit of snow into more central, southern Wisconsin, central Wisconsin as well, eastern Iowa, western Illinois, northern Missouri, right there into Kansas City. If this is a bit more of an overperformer, this band of snow, like the HRRR model showing, this could, shift further to the south and bring a bit more additional snow into Indiana, Ohio. Not significant, but maybe 1 to 2 inches. So the HRRR model, HRRR, shows this much snowfall through the 48 hours. Notice, it even shows a bit of snow into southern Michigan, 1 to 2 inches with that initial band into Ohio. Again, 2 to 6 inches of snow across Minnesota, Wisconsin, South Dakota, southeastern North Dakota, Nebraska, the heavier amounts, possibly up to 6 if not more. And then here, the HRRR model shows up to 16 inches, which I don't think will be the case, but I do think that over a foot may be possible in some isolated locations. And again, this has been a trend further to the south. The HRRR model initially yesterday was further to the north. Now it's hinting towards the south. And we could clearly see that with models like the NAM 12KM. So this was a NAM today, right? This is what it shows. A lot of this is falling as ice. A lot of that snowfall amount. So this is more accurate. This is its snowfall portrayal now. One of the highest, or one of the models that shows it furthest to the north. 24 hours ago, it was like this, so very, very far to the north. Now it's significantly closer to the south. The RGEM, again, was that model that I was saying was most accurate a few days ago, and thankfully I was saying that as that has been the case. Notice, this was it yesterday, or today, right? This is what it shows. Yesterday, there was some change, but it wasn't nearly as drastic as of a change as what the NAM was showing, which indicates that the poor quality of the NAM handling this snowstorm. Again, the NAM isn't always a bad model. A lot of models are alternate. Some models do better in certain situations. And the RGEM was one of these models. Same with the Canadian. The Canadian, today's model run was like this. I already showed you this, right? And then yesterday's model run was further, or sorry, this was the model that didn't change. It didn't change that much. And the day before that, it also was in a general area. Now, the GFS, for example, was a model that has changed around quite a bit. This is what it's showing now. Bit of sleet in there, so these amounts aren't as high as the snow will be falling. But 24 hours ago, this was a completely different situation across much of Wisconsin, Iowa, and they're getting now less snow here. There's to the south, there's more snow. Whether or not this trend will continue is interesting to see. That's why the National Weather Service amounts may be a bit lower, especially for Chicago, Indiana, and Wisconsin than they are right now. And even into Missouri, and they may be a bit too high across Iowa, Wisconsin, and southern Minnesota. For example, let's take a look at the HRDPS. This model right now, look at that snow it shows right there. This model just got into its reach today, so it doesn't really have much comparison from prior days. Right away showing pretty good amounts of snow, pure snow, not sleet. So this could be possible. Further to the north or south, the fluctuations may still occur. I want to quickly go to the pivotal weather. There's another high-res model called the RAP, R-A-P. And let's take a look at its recent 39-hour outlook. So this is what it shows in terms of snowfall, right? Minnesota, Wisconsin, the UP. Again, if I were to put on the Kuchera, that would be more accurate for you, 4, 5, 6 inch amounts. If I were to put on a 10-1, that would be more accurate for these locations. So let's just keep it at the 10-1, as these locations will be seeing the heavier amounts, so that makes more sense, more impactful. Notice the RAP shows northern Illinois, Wisconsin, right? Just southern Wisconsin, even getting out of the further north into the northern areas of, say, just north of Milwaukee, the Dells, if you will. And a lot of snow into Davenport, right? The Quad Cities. Now, the model run of the RAP 6 hours prior to this was quite a stark difference. Further to the north, not much snow across Illinois. Davenport seeing interesting amounts of questionable snow. The rain snow line right over you. Further into northern western Iowa. And again, with this latest one, further to the south. Still heavy amounts just further to the south. Whether or not this continues, we'll have to see. So again, the National Weather Service right now is showing lighter amounts that are more comparable to the amounts right here. And the proof of that is, well, we have the reset navigation. Let's go to this. On this model, right? This model website, it shows us a forecast of what the National Weather Service currently has forecasted. NWS, right? It's like the National Forecast accumulations. Let's just stick to United States and snowfall. Take this through. This is what the National Weather Service right now is currently portraying. This is definitely a scenario that was equivalent to the models today in the morning. The models most have shifted that further to the south. The National Weather Service has reluctantly done so because mainly to do with the fact that they aren't confident whether or not that trend will hold. If it does, do not be surprised if Illinois, southern Iowa, southern Wisconsin see higher amounts, and a bit to the north we see some decreasing amounts. Again, it won't be a situation of northern Iowa going from 8 inches to 1 inch. You'll still see snow, just maybe not the focus of this, right? So again, this is a tough forecast, and I think that this map right here, honestly, is not doing a bad job. It's a pretty good forecast. Just, again, expect changes, and the National Weather Service themselves makes that pretty clear. So we are in a, this is a very long video, almost 28 minutes, almost half an hour. So I better start wrapping this up. Again, significant event, and this will be unfolding much of tomorrow, right? The GFS, let's just show you this. And the second wave of the system is in the future, so in the near future. So we have to watch for that as well. But first, it's this one. So again, a lot of locations getting snow. National Weather Service, I think the EP, I don't know, the Environmental Services for Canada, those are your best offices. Keep track to the storm. Keep your eyes on the radar, as slight changes and adjustments of the storm may make large impacts for larger cities. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next episode. See ya. Bye.